All right, let's put on our detective hats. In this explainer, we're going to become performance detectives, moving way beyond the simple surface-level numbers to uncover the real story behind your business results.
Okay, so let's start with a classic scenario. Your sales are up 10%. Awesome, right? Time to pop the champagne? I mean, that's the kind of number that gets you a pat on the back in the Monday morning meeting. But is it the whole story? Or is it just one little clue in a much, much bigger mystery?
Well, hang on. Because what if I told you that the entire market, all your competitors, the whole industry grew by 20%? Whoa! Suddenly that 10% gain doesn't look so hot, does it? It actually means we fell behind. We lost our slice of the pie. And that is the exact kind of mystery we're going to solve with advanced variance analysis.
So here's our investigation plan. We'll tackle the sales volume mystery. We'll figure out what was the market versus what was our own strategy. We're going to decode our activity costs using ABC, and then we'll look at the super interesting learning curve effect. Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, let's look at this sales volume mystery. We're going to start with the usual suspect, the tool everyone knows, the conventional sales volume variance. But as you're about to see, it really doesn't tell you nearly enough.
So this traditional metric, it's a starting point. It tells you if your sales volume was higher or lower than you planned. It gives you a number, but that's it. It gives you zero context. It doesn't tell you why. It's like knowing the final score of a football game without having any idea how the game was actually played. So here's where things get really cool. We're going to take that one simple variance and crack it open into two much more useful, much more revealing pieces. This is how we start to separate the stuff we can't control from the stuff we absolutely can. On one side, you have the planning variance. Think of this as the market size variance. It asks, did the whole pie get bigger or smaller than we thought it would? This tells you if your original plan was maybe a bit off because of things happening out there in the world. Then, on the other side, you've got the operational variance. This is all about your slice of the pie, your market share. Did you gain or lose ground against your competitors? This is all about your strategy.
Let's make this real. Imagine you run a coffee shop. Suddenly, the whole neighborhood gets a massive craving for caffeine. The total market grows. Your sales go up. That's a favorable planning variance. It's the rising tide lifting all the little coffee boats. But did you also launch an amazing new loyalty program that stole customers from the cafe down the street? That's your operational variance. That's you outperforming the competition.
And this distinction is so important. You can't blame your sales team if the entire economy tanks, right? That's uncontrollable. By splitting these things out, you can stop wasting time and energy on things you can't change and focus like a laser on the stuff you can, the controllable operational parts of your business.
Okay, we have totally dissected our sales. Now, let's put our costs under that same microscope. We're going to shift from the big picture down to the nitty-gritty details using a powerful technique called activity-based costing.
You see, most of the time, we just lump everything into this one giant fuzzy bucket called overhead. It's not very helpful. What ABC does is it forces us to break that down. It makes us look at the individual cost drivers, the specific activities, like making a single customer delivery. It's like going from a blurry satellite photo to a super high-res, street-level view of where your money is actually going.
All right, let's get our hands dirty and actually walk through a calculation. We're going to do a step-by-step forensic analysis here to pinpoint exactly what happened with our delivery costs. Just 4 simple steps.
Step 1 is just to state the formula. Now, don't let it scare you. The logic is actually really simple. All we're doing is comparing the number of activities we should have done for our actual production versus the number of activities we actually did. Then we just multiply that difference by our standard cost. That's it.
Now, step 2. This is the most critical step, and it's called flexing the budget. All this means is that we need to make a fair apples-to-apples comparison. Our original budget was for 2,000 units, but we actually produced 2,100. You can't compare those directly. So we flex. We say, okay, if 2,000 units were supposed to need 20 deliveries, then our actual output of 2,100 units should have required 21 deliveries. That's our new adjusted standard. Step 3 is the easy part. We just plug in the numbers. We take our flex standard of 21 deliveries, we subtract the 19 deliveries we actually made, and we multiply the whole thing by our standard rate of 200 rupees per delivery.
And what do we get? We get a 400 rupee favorable variance. And it's favorable because our flex standard said we should have used 21 deliveries, but we got the job done in only 19. We were more efficient, we saved the company some money. That's a win.
But hold on, that's not the whole story. We also have to look at the expenditure variance. This isn't about how many deliveries, it's about how much we paid for them. We should have paid 3,800 rupees for those 19 deliveries, but we actually paid 3,900. So while we were super efficient with the number of trips, we overspent by 100 rupees, giving us a small, adverse variance on the price side. Okay, our investigation takes one final fascinating turn. We've looked at markets, we've looked at activities, but now we have to consider the human element. The simple fact that people learn, and they get better at their jobs over time. Think about it. We often set our standards, how long a task should take, at the very beginning of a period, and then we just forget about them. But what happens when your team gets better, smarter, and faster with practice? Well, that standard you set is now a moving target.
The core idea here is that as people repeat a task, they get more efficient. It's not a surprise, it's a predictable improvement. And if we don't build this predictable improvement, this learning curve, into our standards from the beginning, our whole variance analysis is going to be flawed. Imagine a new team assembling a tricky product. You set the standard at 10 hours per unit. A month later, they're cranking them out in just 6 hours. The report shows this huge, glowing, favorable variance, and management thinks they're geniuses. But this improvement was predictable. It was just the learning curve. Ignoring it gives you a misleading picture, and worse, if you don't adjust that standard down for the next period, you're basically building inefficiency right into your future budget. All right, case closed. Let's wrap it up with a formula flash, a really quick, rapid-fire recap of the key detective tools we've uncovered today. First, the ABC efficiency variance. The key thing to remember here, always flex your budget for your actual output first. This tells you how well you manage the quantity of your activities. Next up, planning versus operational variance. This is the crucial one that separates what the market did to you versus how you performed in the market. It's the difference between a rising tide and your ability to actually sail your own ship better than the competition. So, at the end of the day, a standard report just tells you the final score. But these tools we've talked about, they let you see the entire game play by play. By looking beyond that one surface-level number, you can diagnose what's really happening, you can make smarter decisions, and you can tell the true story behind your results.